Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
All right, I got a quick side note before I go to the next story about Jay, Dr. J, if you will. But I want to highlight this because it's late breaking. I told you that they had a suspect. It was a man. We didn't have all the details about the pipe bombing. Took place January 5, 2021. The January 6th eve before January 6th, whatever you want to call it. FBI arrests a suspect now identified as, guy's name is Brian Cole. Brian Cole, he's of Virginia. They say he's in federal custody now after authorities linked him to the pipe bomb planted just blocks from the U.S. Capitol on January 5th. Very interesting indeed. And I hope they got the right guy, and I hope we have accountability for that. I just don't understand how it can take 5 years. And then all of a sudden we're just getting the pay dirt on it now and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very strange. Is it really true that they really got the right guy? I don't know. The sad part about it is you just can't trust them anymore. You know, you'd hope with Cash Patel and company there that you'd get answers that you could trust. Right now, I don't know if they just got a guy because they feel like they have to do something to make the FBI look good. I mean, I don't know. But our prayers are that we stop criminal activity all over the country. Our prayers are that the government starts to tell the truth and develops a relationship of trust with the American people. That's what I'd love to see, right? Just saying. All right, anyway, there you go for that. Sorry for the sidetrack. Jay Bhattacharya, is that how you say his name? Anyway, the guy's director of the National Institutes of Health, along with his deputy. This guy's name is Matthew Mei, I think is how you say it. I don't know. I guess in City Journal now has a shift in pandemic preparedness. And the reason why is they say they want to improve metabolic health to tackle big diseases, right? Future diseases. They want to be able to fend off novel pathogens. The pair, so Jay and this other guy, Matthew, they criticized traditional pandemic responses such as social distancing, mask mandates, and the like. They say what we need to do instead of those clown show efforts, we need to work on personal health initiatives, such as controlling diabetes, hypertension, and such. Despite their, quote, proposed strategy, significant health challenges remain prevalent in the United States. Okay, listen to these numbers to kind of help put things in perspective. They say with 38 million people diagnosed with diabetes, 38 million, over 100 million with heart disease. And they say more than 100 million people who are obese. Bhattacharya and this, how do you say his name? Mei? Anyway, Bhattacharya and Mei's recommendations suggest a move towards what they call public health libertarianism. Wow. They want to affect a change in the mindset in the U.S. And then they say, despite evidence showing a traditional mitigation measures as working. A recent poll revealed a mix of sentiment on pandemic policy, with a significant portion still valuing vaccine schedules, pandemic restrictions, while also showing reluctance to embrace such measures in the future. Now, here's what I find interesting. These guys all claim, oh, the traditional methods work. And my response is, how well did social distancing work? There's so many dead people from COVID. How many dead people from the vaccines? They still won't discuss or answer or deal with that, right? So I really support this effort by Dr. J and company to say we need to work on health comorbidities. We really need to deal with it. If you've got diabetes, we've got to work on helping you understand what you need to do to manage it properly. If you've got heart problems or if you've got whatever, we've got to find ways to kind of mitigate or deal with that. Okay. I know we've got health challenges remaining in the United States. 100 million people obese, more than 100 million, more than 100 million with heart attack or heart issues, diabetes. I mean, I get that these things are real. But here's the point. I don't think that what we do is we say, oh, Jay's plan is a bad deal. He wants to move away from traditional solutions. So you divide the population that way. You say, we're for traditional solutions. They work great. Well, then why do we have over 100 million people with heart problems? Why do we have over 100 million people that are obese? Why do we have over 38 million people with diabetes? Certainly, clearly, something's wrong. I don't think we should debate about that and one side pretend it's not true and the other side double down and declare it's true. Why don't we just acknowledge the truth? Now, I agree when, these guys criticize, the pair criticize traditional pandemic responses. If you like those pandemic responses, don't worry about their criticism of it. But be honest with yourself and come back and say, hey, what about saying that some of these traditional methods might work, and we can cling to some of that if it's science-based. But what about looking at the new landscape as Dr. J and others are doing? Looking at it and saying, hey, we can make a lot of difference by helping people manage their pre-existing conditions. We can work on educating people. What causes type 2 diabetes? We should discuss that. Why do people have so many heart problems? Why are people so obese? What can be done to mitigate that, change that, make a difference there? I think that Dr. J and company are onto something. But see, all the naysayers want to just double down and go, oh, Jay, you're out in the weeds. And then Jay says, no, you're out in the weeds. And now we've got this divide and this clown fight that's not worth anything. Why don't we go back and say, let's test the, traditional methods, traditional pandemic responses, and let's embrace the ones that have scientific backing. But for example, social distancing, even, what's that guy's name? The clown that ought to be in prison? Oh, shoot. Anyway, whatever his name is, the big scientist guy, right? He admitted the science wasn't real, that the 6-foot social distancing was nothing. It wasn't true. It wasn't real. It was just, hey, somebody made it up or whatever, and it kind of stuck. Well, why don't we be honest and jettison that? I think we should. We need to be open-minded. We need to be willing to look at all the different realities. And when Dr. J and these other people, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and others, are saying, hey, this social distancing is not scientific, so let's jettison it. Well, anybody in their right scientific mind would agree. Let's get rid of it. It's not backed in science. Now, when it comes to things that will work, hey, why not educate people about diabetes, what causes it, what you can do to reduce it, what you can do to manage it, what you can do to prevent it in the first place. Imagine that. See, I think we need to follow the science. I mean, when they said that, they're right. The problem is, whose science? What science? And I would say fact-based science. That is that social distancing didn't work, doesn't work, never worked. It wasn't scientific in the first place. The sooner we acknowledge that, the better off we are. And then the sooner we do agree that, hey, if you've got diabetes, let's help you manage it. If you don't have diabetes yet, we want to make sure that you don't get it. What's the primary drivers of diabetes type 2 for people? We already know a lot of these things. We already have the science. But are we teaching people? Are we educating people? Are we working on helping people follow the guidelines or understand the guidelines? Right? How about mass mandates? They're bogus too. A mandate's not even a law, right? Okay? They want to have personal health initiatives and enhance public health. I support that. Why don't we encourage people to exercise? Encourage people to eat right. Isn't that what the 4 food groups were about back in the day? Now we find out those 4 food groups aren't even a great summary. You got to think about it a little differently. You got to think about macros and, carbs and protein and all this stuff, fat, and, how do you get it from what food groups when, what's better, what's not, hey, when are we going to stop adding sugar to milk and stuff like that? Pasteurizing the milk takes out a lot of the health benefits of drinking milk. A lot of the normal antibodies that you gain and different things from society. How about eating honey instead of sugar? Honey does all kinds of good things for you. Are we going to talk about these things? See, I think these people that are attacking Dr. J and company, they're clowns. They're not willing to even have an open mind and discuss these things. But I think that Dr. J is onto something, just my opinion. That's good news that they're at least discussing it and I wanted to bring it to the table and praise Dr. J and crew. The North Dakota Supreme Court revived a near total abortion ban after a 3-2 split decision. The court upheld the district court's judge's September 2024 declaration that, hey, the North Dakota law is unconstitutionally vague. Yeah, you got to have 4 justices declared unconstitutional. They didn't get that, therefore, boom. North Dakota's Attorney General, Drew Wrigley, and pro-life organizations like Students for Life support this. They want to protect the unborn. Yeah, the state constitution does not imply a right to an abortion. Jared Tuft, the justice there, said. Great news. Anyway, I'm grateful for the good news we're hearing. Truth on Science from Dr. J and Company, standing for pro-life in North Dakota. Come on, baby. Good news happening. But we need to learn not to be gaslighted, and we're gaslighted by too many segments of our society. Liberty Roundtable Live is here to help prevent that. Help you think for yourself. Help you analyze things based on facts, not fiction. I'm Sam Bushman. We are syndicated by the Loving Liberty Networks, lovingliberty.net. Incredible talk show hosts around the clock. Check it out, lovingliberty.net. I'm Sam Bushman. God save the Republic of the United States of America.